episode 162 of the Parkrun Adventurers podcast. Welcome, everybody. I'm Lyndall, standing in for Mel, and I'm here with Scotty. G'day, Scotty.
G'day, Lyndall.
You nearly called me Mel again.
I did. Isn't it funny? It's habit. So we're 3 weeks in, and you're much more than a stand-in. I don't think Mel's listening. I don't think she is, so we can say whatever we want.
Oh, I'm sure she's gone right off parkrun. Yeah, that's a real possibility.
Yeah. But no, Lyndall, it's great to have you back for 162. And you know what? I was listening to With Me Now during the week, as you do, and they mentioned a little stat that there was 186 episodes of the Parkrun show. So I made a little mental note that I'm now making an audio note that our goal is to get to 187 episodes of the Parkrun Adventures. So we can say we are the longest running parkrun podcast in existence.
That's a good goal, Scotty. That's not too far away.
No, we've only got to get through a couple more months and we're there.
Or even sooner, we could just smash out a few more podcasts.
Two a week?
Have to be weekly?
3 times a week. You know, my favourite podcast, they're in a little bit of a quiet spot now, and I only get one podcast a week, and I'm having a hard time consoling it because it's like they used to do 3 a week. I'd get it every second day. It just fed my need. And now I'm asking random people for podcast requests. I'm searching, trialing all these different podcasts, and maybe we just need to do 3 a week next week.
Well, for us to do that, I suspect that because parkrun's only once a week.
Yes.
We might have to make sure that we're running more than just parkrun. So last week, Scotty, we talked about how you'd made a commitment to run 4 times a week. And I jumped in and foolishly, maybe in retrospect, said, that's a great idea, Scotty. I'm going to do the same thing. Good.
So you've joined me because I'm right on track.
You're on track. That's fantastic news.
I'm in week 3 of 4 weeks of consistent running. And you are?
Well, 1 out of 2 of us isn't too bad. That's That's a pass rate, right? If one of us is doing it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Did you get through 1 week?
I've parkrunned. I'm sorry to admit it. I feel very ashamed of myself, but
no, you should never feel ashamed of parkrunning, Lyndall.
Oh, I'm not ashamed of parkrunning. I'm ashamed that I didn't run another time when I said I'd run another 3 times.
It's okay. We've talked about this. Life gets in the way. Life is busy. It's okay. I went through 12 months of it, just parkrunning, so
and
I'm
that
really
didn't do
chuffed.
you any harm? Look at you.
It did. No, it did. Well, I tell you, I went on my run tonight and we've coined a new phrase that I'm going to start tagging all my runs with, which is it's the tight around the tummy. So a lot of my shirts are tight around the tummy now. So if you see the hashtag tat, I'm giving the tat a new meaning.
Well, I think I should hashtag everything that I ever post on social media at the moment with that hashtag, Scotty, because everything's tight on me at the moment.
Yeah. Let's make it trend.
Well, maybe we should not make a trend. Maybe we should make a trend of trying to not have to post that hashtag.
Yeah. Well, to get around that, you know what I've done? I've really brought into my mate Barney, who I bagged out last week on the podcast, and he's taken me to task that I told him off. Remember, he ran early and I had to tell him off.
Yes.
Or he took off and I had to tell him off.
Yep.
But I'm going to give him some kudos here because he set up these weekly challenges on Garmin Connect. Now, I'm not sure what you've got, but I'm veering away from Strava. Since the partnership ended with Parkrun and Strava, they're a bit on the nose with me. It's very busy. There's lots happening on Strava, and it doesn't give you that much information. And I'm going towards Garmin Connect, and he set up these weekly challenges, which is just a step challenge. We've all done them. But there's a little group and it's actually really motivating me and it's highlighting how inactive I am during the day. Like I sit all day because I work from home. If I go for lunch, I walk down the hallway.
To your kitchen.
That's it.
Yeah.
I didn't even walk out the building, go to the cafe, pick up a sandwich, whatever. I walked 20 metres down my hallway.
Yeah, wow.
And this is scary at the end of the day.
Yes.
So what this challenge is motivating me is to get a bit more active during the week. So thanks Barney for that.
See, Barney, you've redeemed yourself. Good on you, my friend.
Well, I've redeemed myself in his eyes for telling him off.
Fantastic. That's a great story.
So this is what you need to do, Lyndall. Do you wear a Garmin? Are you
I
a
do.
TomTom?
Yes, I have a Garmin.
Okay. Well, I'm going to add you to our challenge.
Cool.
You're going to be with all these people that you don't know, but it doesn't matter. It'll motivate you to not be last, which was my motivation in the early days. And I'm trying to sit about mid-table these days because there are some crazy people in there who do half marathons on the way to work.
Yes.
Who does that?
Not me, I don't.
Their commute is 21K.
Right, well, I'm certainly not doing that at this point in time. All right, Scotty, you're on. You can add me to your group and you can see how few steps I'm doing at the moment.
Okay, good. But should we just recap on parkrun? Everyone was waiting to see where we went last week. Well, maybe one person.
Maybe you were wondering where I was going and I was wondering where you were going.
Yep. So where did you go?
I went to St. Lucia Parkrun. St. Lucia is just west of the Brisbane city. It's a parkrun on a university campus, a university that I won't name because I work for the other university in town. So I'm not giving them any free publicity. It's a lovely spot to run on a sand track there, lots of trees. It was a bit chilly. There was a couple of us touristing from the northern suburbs of Brisbane over to St. Lucia, and we were joined by a few other, I'm going to call them parkrun orphans from South Bank Parkrun. So South Bank Parkrun, which is right in the smack bang in the city of Brisbane, had to cancel last weekend because there was maintenance in the City Botanic Gardens. So there's a few orphans there at St. Lucia.
A few?
Yep.
South Bank's a massive event, so there would have been like hundreds of orphans. I wonder where they all went. They didn't all go to St. Lucia, did they?
They didn't all go to St. Lucia. I think they divided and conquered.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, what's the crowd like at St. Lucia? So being on a university campus, I'm hopeful that it's a bit younger. Do the university crowd get out and about on a Saturday morning?
Well, it's pretty mixed. I mean, there's a lot of people around that area anyway that are running and cycling and being active. There's a tennis centre there and there's an aquatic centre. So there's plenty of active people around the vicinity of Parkrun and lots of walkers and runners out just doing their own thing independently of the Parkrun as well. So there's heaps of people around. I don't know from the results how many, I don't know, maybe 100-ish. I could be entirely wrong on that, but maybe 100 or so a week at St. Lucia Parkrun.
That's good.
And Scotty, where did you go?
Where did I go? I went back to Darebin, which I've been doing a bit of lately, so not terribly exciting. I broke my streak of tourist runs. This was my longest streak of different events, which was I got to 12. So what's that? That's like 3 months of a different event every week.
Yeah.
It's been 3 months since I've been back to Darebin.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And no particular reasons, just my mates were going to Darebin. It was really cold as well in Melbourne, so
it didn't matter where you went, it was just going to be cold everywhere.
Yep, pretty much. But I did get Darebin up to 8, so my P index is making some great progress. I think I'm one event away from increasing my P index, which...
So am I, Scotty.
Are you?
I am.
Are you on 8?
No, I'm not on 8.
Oh, okay.
But I just need to do one more to make it 6.
6 is pretty impressive too.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm pretty happy with that stat.
Yeah. Well, let's coordinate our P index increases.
Let's do that.
From time to time, we like to check in with the elites and find out how they're doing. And one of our really fast guys from back in the day joins us all the way from America. Welcome to the Parkrun Adventurers, Lee Troop.
Thanks for having me, Scotty and Lyndall.
We're in different time zones. Lyndall and I are up in the morning, but it's nice in the middle of the afternoon for you there. And I'm gonna throw one at you, completely left field, Lee here. I know you've just been for a run. I follow you on the socials, and you've been for a run for Gabe Grunwald
Yep.
Day. You went for a run with your daughter.
That I did. So it was good to actually have a reason to get my daughter to come and join me. So it was good.
Do you want to tell the listeners a bit of the story about Gabe and what her legacy is?
Yeah, so Gabe, originally from Minnesota, unfortunately has had 4 fights with a serious cancer. And unfortunately, about a week ago, I think, or maybe 10 days ago, she succumbed and passed away. And everyone has known about the fight that Gabe has had with cancer. She's somebody that, while in treatment, has still tried to get out and train, has still tried to race. I was fortunate to meet her in 2016 at the US Olympic trials through an athlete that I was coaching, Sarah Vaughan, and she was just a delightful person, and her husband seemed like a really, really good lad as well. And I then followed more of them after I'd met them through 2017 and obviously 2018, and just the struggles that she'd had and what she had to deal with. And I think the thing that resonates with a lot of people was just her resilience to fight every day, not to give up. A lot of people could say, hey, look, you have cancer, you need to take care of yourself. But she saw it as a challenge to just keep pushing herself and seeing what she could do. And in Minnesota as of today, today's her birthday, and it's known as Gabe Grunwald Day, which will be forever. And her favorite number was 1,405. So they were asking everyone to run 1.405 miles. And so I encouraged my daughter to come out today just to do a 20-minute run where we ran for 5 minutes, walk for 2, and we did that for 3 kilometers. So, it's a sad story, but it's one of those ones that is certainly turned for good, and people are using it as motivation and inspiration. And I think her legacy is going to live on for many, many, many more years to come.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think she resonated with people because she was so lovely and she was a fighter. I'm interested, how did your daughter, did you get an opportunity to talk about Gabe on your run, or was it just a father-daughter bonding experience? What was that like?
My daughter's seen the videos that have come out of Gabe, so she is familiar with her. I don't know her personally, but I know obviously her plight and everything that's been put together, and watched everything and read everything. About 3 or 4 years ago, my father actually had stage 4 brain cancer, so we've been on that journey. So she's familiar with how cancer unfortunately doesn't discriminate, and the impact that it can have and the damage it can have, but then also importantly how it can bring people together to unite and to fight and to be on a common path and common cause way together. So I'm sure, like, she's 13, she understands, but I don't think she doesn't feel the emotions that a lot of other people, and particularly, I guess, adults have felt, and people that knew her.
What a fantastic story. It sounds like she's made a real impact on people, and just using that running story to bring people together. And I guess, Scotty and I would say that that's what we live every week at Parkrun, that feeling of just bringing people together. I guess the other thing that resonated for me with your story about Gabe is that there's just different things that running can bring in a life, and different experiences that you have through running. Lee, you've made the transition from being an elite athlete through to now coaching athletes. So what's that been like for you, and has that been an easy transition?
It started out relatively easy. I really didn't have any desires to coach. I was actually still trying to make a 4th Olympics myself, and a couple of athletes asked if I'd coach them, which I was reluctant to do. And after probably 4 to 6 weeks of being pestered, I really went with the Moneghetti rule of thumb, where I just basically said that I train at 8 in the morning and 5 at night, and if you want to jump in and train, that'd be great. And this is what I'm going to be doing. And 3 strikes and you're out type of scenario. And I started coaching a couple of people, and then that grew. And then I guess over time, I was coaching 20, 25 elite athletes, and I'd set up a track club here known as the Boulder Track Club, which, at any given time we had 300 to 400 members as part of that club, from youth group to middle school group to recreational runners and then professional athletes. And things were traveling along fine up until last year, where unfortunately one of my top athletes took his life. He battled with depression, and that created just a catastrophe of just events, where by the time I'd got to October, he'd unfortunately taken his life in February, but by the time I'd got to October, I was mentally, physically, emotionally just spent. And had to take a bit of time out of coaching to just try and get myself back on track, which I've just started to do. I wouldn't say that I'm completely out of the woods at the moment. I'm not at a point of traveling to races. When you travel to races, it becomes a circus with coaches and agents, and everyone wants to ask me how I'm going. It's like everyone's got 10 set questions that they have to ask me repeatedly. But for the short term at the moment, I'm just enjoying being out there coaching 5 athletes, and they're young athletes. I also have a big recreational group of about 30 athletes, from beginners to, athletes that run like 7-8 minute kilometer pace, and working with them. So, I've finally put one foot back into the water again, and don't have both feet completely put in the water, but back to enjoying it and investing into people. And coaching's there's that symbiotic relationship with the athlete, where it's not necessarily about writing out the training programs. It's being on this emotional and mental journey that they're on, whether they're wanting to lose weight, run a personal best, or try to make the Olympics. A lot of athletes handle their sport differently, and as a coach, your job is to not have a cookie cutter where everyone's the same, but work in with them individually with, their needs and their wants. And when they're high, try to sort of bring them down a little bit. When they're low, try to build them up and make them feel like they're moving in the right direction. So it's certainly been a different journey that I've been on as a coach. I guess, as an athlete, I was uncoachable. I coached myself for a lot, and I'd always bounce ideas off Steve Moneghetti. So going from not really having had, I guess, coaches myself to then now becoming a coach, it's been a different ride, that's for sure. I started off with just me and 2 people. We built it up to 10, 20, 30. So I was coaching like a sub-elite group in the morning that would have 20, 30 people in it. Then I'd be coaching the elite group after that. And then I brought in another coach, and then we brought in a trail coach. So I ended up bringing in 4 or 5 other coaches in and around me. And we built the club up that we would have, a committee with a president and a vice president and secretary and treasurer. And so that over the time I could start to wind myself out of the club and have the club, function fully with, I guess, volunteers, like 5 to 6 different volunteers making the club work. But as we know, it's tough to get volunteers and committed volunteers and people that are on the same page as what was the club set up for, what's the vision of the club, what's the mission of the club, where do we need to drive it. Now, I always say many hands make light work, but when you do get a group of people that come in that may think differently and act differently and have different agendas, sometimes that makes it hard for the club to continue on the journey that had been set for it. So it was just unfortunate that last year everything came at the same time. I was coaching a big group of elite athletes, and I needed time out from that. I had a running store, which unfortunately was a forced closure for me. I wanted to get out of the running store that I was in. It was part of a franchise, and I wanted to open an independent running store, and that didn't go down too well. And my daughter had gone through a spate of bullying at her middle school, and and then unfortunately with John, passing away, 2018 was certainly a year of testing the very physical and mental and emotional strengths that I had. So taking time away from that and also from the club has just given me a little bit of a different perspective on things. And, the club is still functioning well. As I said, you rely on volunteers to help moving things in the right direction. But now that I've sort of come out of that hiatus that I've been in, looking forward to getting back into the club and obviously coaching elites. I don't think I'll go back to having a big group. I think I'll keep it rather small and personal. And enjoy the recreational group of athletes that I'm coaching. I mean, that sub-tier of people have jobs, have families, they're 40, 50, 60 years of running, and their reasons for running are certainly a lot different than elite athletes. Running's just an extension of what they do. It isn't the only thing that they do. Whereas with elite athletes, this is their job. You're on a knife's edge. They're trying to make Olympics. They're trying to get sponsors, and that just seems to have a little bit more vulnerability, and it's a different roller coaster ride that you're on.
So with the elite athletes, you touched on it there a little bit. It's their life, and their income depends on it. They're trying to get sponsors. What's your role as a coach in that? Because you talked a little bit then as well about the well-rounded life of an athlete. Do you have a part to play in helping them with all of that, or do you really just concentrate mainly on the physical training?
No, I mean, for me, like every coach is different. I don't say that any coach is wrong. And for me, my coaching is taking in their whole lifestyle, like what they do for work, their family background, their collegiate background, influences that may have a physical, mental impact, positive and negative, and trying to put things in place. As I said, every athlete's completely different, and you need to look at, them as a whole, and you end up becoming more of a psychologist than a coach. The training's easy. Like, you put one foot in front of the other and you run as hard as you can for as long as you can. And if you're in a race, whoever crosses the finish line first wins. So that metric there is not a complicated process, but it's the pathway to get there, and then what the athlete is experiencing mentally and emotionally. And, some of them have had tough college backgrounds, and they were injured through college, and they've come out of college, not knowing whether running is what they want to do. Some of them were fantastic athletes in college, but, you've got a full ride at college. You've got your accommodation paid for, you've got your food paid for, you've got your education paid for. When you come out of college where you've been spoon-fed, all of a sudden you've got to become an adult. And it's hard for athletes to transition from being a college athlete to then wanting to pursue a professional career. And particularly if you don't have sponsorship and you've got to work. And, in Australia, it's a little bit different because we don't have that glorification of professional sport that they have here in the US. So when you come out of college, you would get a job, and you know that you're going to work at least part-time and still run. Whereas here, there's this mythology that, when you come out of college and you want to be a professional athlete, you have to be a full-time athlete, and that's the only thing you can do. And that's really incorrect. I try to encourage all my athletes to work a minimum 20 hours a week. And even if it's just a part-time job and in a career that they don't foresee a future in, it still gives them 20 hours a week of not thinking about running, and it gives them a different outlet, and it gives them different people to connect with that aren't necessarily all running focused. Because I think if you live it, breathe it, like you're analyzing, you're overanalyzing, you're psychoanalyzing everything about running, then that's when we start to see that mental breakdown, which then starts to become a bit of a physical breakdown with fatigue and pressure. And then we see the emotional breakdown that comes after that.
Hey Lee, should we reminisce a little bit? I'm not sure all our listeners would be familiar with the Lee Troop story. Going back, you broke onto the scene in the 5K on the track, the parkrun distance, and then progressed to marathons where it's fair to say you probably made your name. Do you remember back into those early days, back in Geelong?
Oh, absolutely. It's like it was yesterday. So they're all that's what we call the glory days. But I obviously had started out at not running marathons. I was running 5K and 10K and cross country. And, I started running just because my dad wanted to lose weight. And I played a whole myriad of other sports. And I got a junior college scholarship back in 93, 94 in Texas. And so, there was all these little things along the way of running where I just ran with my dad to lose weight. I did some local fun runs. I did school cross country and school athletics. to the point where then I got a collegiate scholarship, and I come over here, and I think that's where all of a sudden my eyes were open to the possibilities of what could come from running if I was prepared to actually take it much more seriously. And I came back to Australia after 18 months here, and that's where things really turned around. I moved from Geelong to Ballarat to train with Moneghetti, and I made World Cross Country in '96, which was in Cape Town. It was in Stellenbosch, South Africa. And then I made the Commonwealth Games in '98, which was in Kuala Lumpur for the 5K and the 10K. And '99, I was fortunate enough to break Ron Clark's 5K record that had been there for 33 years. And then that led to the London Marathon in '99, where I ran 2:11 on debut. So there was a whole, when you look back on things, there wasn't one distinct thing that was the reason I started to get success from running, but there was a whole heap of things that all came together. And I was lucky that I didn't have injuries. I ran purely because I loved it. Success and winning wasn't the priorities for me. It was more about obviously doing my best. And I'd always wanted to be a marathon runner. I grew up idolizing Di Castella. And, for me, even though I was running 5K and 10K cross country, that wasn't like that was the end for me. It was always that would be what would then propel me into being a marathon runner. So those early years were obviously those formative years, and certainly what I look back on where there was just it was just innocent running. It wasn't complicated running, and there was running with purpose. Running with friends, and running for the clubs that I was with at Athletics Victoria Championship meets, and just trying to get as high up as I could, and that led to then making the Olympics in 2000.
Lee, you've talked about a basis of fun being the basis for your running, and running for pleasure and for a purpose. So I guess, and you've reached the real heights of elite running. So what is your fondest memory of running, or what's your fondest time that you look back on, whether it's on the track or off the track, from that time of being an elite athlete?
That's probably a hard one to answer, because I had so many wonderful opportunities that were given to me. If I was to look at, maybe just a couple, I think certainly going to the US in '93 to a junior college, and being taken out of my comfort zone, where running when I first got there wasn't that fun. I was in the panhandle of Texas. I had no friends. You're a foreigner in a country, and you're very far away from home, and so when you're used to traveling around Australia, so then all of a sudden being on a plane and stuck in the panhandle of Texas, it certainly changed my perspective of things. And I remember, my mum, they'd sent me over with a one-way ticket, and they said when it was time for me to come home to let them know, and they would give me a return ticket to come home. And I was only there 3 days, and I called my mum and said, look, no, this isn't for me. It's time to come back home. And my mum quite bluntly turned around and said, we knew you'd say that, and you're there for a minimum 6 months, and hung up the phone. And that period, despite being extremely difficult, I think really set the foundation for me to be able to travel the world and do what I did. Because if I could handle living in the panhandle of Texas with no family and friends, I'm pretty sure that, I could travel the world and run and race and make new friends, and obviously travel with friends as well. So that was certainly one thing that I look back on that was a strong catalyst for my running. And then definitely, being in Ballarat and training with Moneghetti, and seeing what the very best do, and realizing that, there are certain sacrifices that you need to make, and that comes at the cost of, sometimes friendships and family, with certain events that they may have, where you've got to prioritize, what's important with running. And, for some people, you get one shot at trying to make the Olympics. For me, I was fortunate that I made 3, but that comes with a lot of sacrificing and prioritizing what's important. And, it's hard, because like if you're traveling a lot and you're for training and for racing, you miss out on things like weddings and births of children, and birthdays and special events. And when you do come home, you try to pack it all in to catch up with people. And, some people take it personally, that you're such a good friend, and yet you weren't there for a wedding, or you weren't there for a birthday, or you weren't there for the wedding of the baby's head. And, it's tough to get them to realize that the sport that they see you doing is actually your job. It's your life. And they don't see that. They just see running just as a sport that you can pick and choose whenever you want. And so those two timeframes were things that I look back on that were challenging, but at the same time, learning to navigate through that certainly helped propel a lot of the great things that came throughout my career. And I don't look back on that with anything negative. I look back on that with like a lot of joy and delight that someone like me, who's an extrovert in a distance guy's body, was able to really calibrate himself to do what was needed to be done to then set up the 20-year career that I had.
It's amazing, isn't it? Sometimes when the times are toughest, you come out the other side and a different person or with a different attitude that can just really change your life. What an amazing story. Thanks for sharing that with us, Lee. Yeah, the other thing I just wanted to recap on, you said earlier in the interview that you were going through a tough time, and was it last year, and people would ask you all of these questions that you didn't really want to answer. So I guess I just wanted, before we wrap up with you, to have the opportunity to ask you what questions you would like to be asked and whether we have asked them of you.
Yeah, look, obviously, as I said, last year wasn't a great year, and primarily, that it just features around, people not knowing what to ask, and all of a sudden they become like a psychologist and always wanting to check on you. And it's one of those ones where I call it a Captain Obvious moment that, things aren't great, and, you're dealing with the death of an athlete and you're trying to support the family who are affected by this. And then you have athletes that are affected by this. And, there wasn't like it was a case of that the wrong questions were being asked. It was just when you're not in a particularly great place yourself, it's hard to continually get out there and put a smile on your face to continually and repeatedly answer the same questions. And even though they might be different in the way that they're directed, they're still somewhat the same questions that you're just repeatedly giving the same answers. So for me, I just really had to, it wasn't anyone's fault. I just had to take some time out and just hide in a hole for a little while until I felt that, I could get back out there and, be more positive, obviously be more engaging and have a normal smile on my face as opposed to a forced smile on my face. So look, it's all good. These are the things that we go through in life. And if we can come out the other side, they certainly, they may change us, but they make us better. And I don't look on my experience last year than any of the learning experiences I got early on in my running career. Like I said, it was just a case of being able to just take a step back and look at things a little bit differently. And then once I'd sort of got through that, then work out what I wanted to do. And I certainly love coaching. I certainly love working with athletes, and I certainly like trying to make a real positive difference in their lives. And I also know that, for these kids, some of them may achieve it and a lot of them won't, but it's all about the journey. And I'm sure that once they finish their running career and they'll look back on it, hopefully there'll be things that they've learnt here in Boulder, and particularly under my coaching, that was a life-changing moment for them that they can then take into the next phase of their life to be, a better employee, a better son, better daughter, better husband, better wife. It's all life skills that we're trying to develop along the way. And for me, I hadn't gone through what I'd gone through last year. So again, it just was a challenging way of looking at a different life skill set that I feel like will make me a much better person as we move along.
Lee, how are you enjoying your time in America? Do you miss Australia? It sounds like you're going through some challenges over there.
Certainly. I mean, at the end of the day, everything had been fantastic up to last year. We've been here over 10 years. So I can't really judge, 1 year for the other 9. But in saying that, I miss Australia a lot, and I love what Australia has to offer. And when I came over here, there were just certain challenges that, motivated me to really throw everything into the US and see what I could make from it. And, I had been doing pretty well. I had a successful running store, and, I was coaching some elite athletes. My top athlete had run 225 at London, and a few of them had won some national titles. And family was all happy, and I was managing athletes. So life was progressing along fairly well. And then in the blink of an eyelid, all of a sudden everything fell apart. But I guess the moral of the story is, I could probably have packed up and come home and, reset and start it again. But, there's a challenge for me now to try and just rebuild again and build some things up and get back to a point where I feel like I'm back in control of my destiny. And, we've certainly talked about potentially coming home at the end of 2020. My daughter will have finished middle school at that stage, and before she would progress into high school, we could come home and she could just start year 9 back in Australia. So we're certainly having those discussions, and with the fact that my dad was so ill 3 or 4 years ago, and my parents and my wife's parents getting older, probably a good time to come home so they can spend some of that time with their grandkids. It's always a fiesta whenever we head back to Australia once or twice a year, and my parents swallow my kids rotten. So we're talking about it, but yeah, for the moment, being where we are, we're in Boulder, and Rob DiCostello had lived here, Steve Jones, world record holder, Frank Shorter, Arturio Barrios. I mean, some of the world's best athletes still live here, and so I see them quite regularly. And you don't even feel that, gee whiz, we've been here X amount of years, or we've been retired from our sport X amount of years, because whenever we catch up, it's always, reminiscing about the good old days and enjoying each other's company. So that hasn't waned quite at the minute, but I'm sure once I got to that point, it would be time to get on the plane and come back. But, Australia certainly, and where I'm from in Geelong, I miss the beach, miss friends, miss running through, the Otway Forest down that way. And even though I'm here, I get back a lot, and we're looking at putting a running festival on in Geelong next year, and looking at trying to contribute something different to my hometown, just like with what I'm doing here in Boulder with the races that I'm doing and the athletes that I'm coaching.
You must miss the Troop Loop down near, it's near Balyang Sanctuary Parkrun down in Geelong. I'm curious, I want to hear your thoughts on parkrun. You've done a couple. Your good mate Mona loves parkrun. He goes along and volunteers every week, so there's something in it for even Monaghetti. But it hasn't really taken off in America like it has in other countries. It's taking a long time. It's just starting to grow. Have you got any insights why you think that might be, having lived over there for 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, here in the US, there's races every weekend. They're everywhere. And they're races that people have been doing for 10, 15, 20 years. So for all of a sudden this event to just pop up where, you don't pay an entry fee, and, supposedly, there's no timing, or there could be timing, but we're not racing for times. I don't think that concept sort of really fits in with the Americans and the American culture, because they want to pay an entry fee, and they want chip timing, and they want results, and they're running for age group awards, and and they're running for charity to raise money for charity. So just the mindset's a little bit different. We do have one here in Boulder. It makes it hard because they're doing it on a trail, and you're not allowed to have any more than 35 people on a trail, and you're not allowed to do timed events. So those restrictive pieces make it hard, but they are growing, and I'm seeing a splattering of the park runs in and around the US. Obviously, there's been a huge boom in Australia, and obviously in the UK, they're everywhere. And athletes that I coach, even through my program of Marathon Guru, when they're preparing for marathons, whether it's Melbourne or Sydney Marathon, Canberra Marathon, I'll always say to them, 2 weeks out, look for a park run and do a park run 5K, and just use it as a really good hard hit out to help you for your marathon. And that they've been measured and they've been marked, and people that turn up to those races are all there pretty much for the same reason, just to create this community within a community, and to run hard, push hard, and then socialize afterwards. It reminds me of the old Sri Chinmoy races that I did as a kid when we were growing up. They were always at Eastern Park, and you would race 2 laps around Eastern Park, and then afterwards you'd sit around having fruit and drinking orange juice. And so the park run's got that similar feel. In saying that, I feel like park run might have taken a step too far to the left this year, when particularly in the UK, they started talking about parkrun world records. And I know that hasn't gone over with a lot of people very well, because it's actually taken away from why parkrun was developed to begin with. And I think if it stays within its lane of why it started and what its mission is and how it brings people together and it's not elitist, I think it's got every reason to just keep continually to grow, which I think is a great thing for health and fitness and participation, which that's the most important facet of why people do what they do. So for me, it ticks off all the boxes that are really important.
Great to get your insight into Parkrun, Lee, and thank you so much for your time this afternoon or this morning for us. And thank you for being not only really open about your life as an elite athlete, but also your life now in Colorado, and even the tough times as well. It's a really special thing to share that with you, Lee.
Thank you. And I guess my biggest dilemma when I come back home to Geelong is what parkrun am I going to do? It's out at the Yuyangs. It's around the Baliang River. I think there's 3 now. So it's going to be tough for when I get home to pick which one.
You'll have to just be a tourist like Scotty and Mel and I.
Try and hit all 3.
Hit all of them. It works for us.
Good. No, like I said, I think it's fantastic. And a lot of people that, I haven't seen for a long time that I went to school with, 30 years ago, it's been awesome to see them get involved in things like this and bring their families. And, and a lot of them will say to me that they didn't know running could be so joyful, I guess, because, when you're in high school, it's forced upon you to do physical education. But the people that are doing park runs are simply and consciously just making a choice to better their lives and better the communities and come together and enjoy something that everyone can enjoy together. So, as I said, I love it. And going down there, last year when I was down there, I took my daughter down there and it was awesome. It was just great for me now that I'm in a different phase of my life to actually share something with my daughter that is similar to what was shared with me and my father. So what the opportunity that you're creating, as I said, there was just a lot of synergy of I used to go to these Street Chinmoy events with my dad and run with my dad, and my brother would come, and you've got parkrun that I can just take my daughter down to and enjoy her company and everyone else's company as well. So thanks for rekindling something that has a little bit of sentiment to it.
Howdy parkrunners, this is Toc reporting in for the Channel 5 News crew. Today Jackie and I have ventured down to the lovely seaside town of Port Fairy, where once again it's a little bit chilly. The water's coming straight off Bass Strait, coming straight off Bass Strait, and it is chilly. Port Fairy was a town established back in the 1840s as a whaling town. It was originally known as Belfast, and then they changed their name back in the 1870s to Port Fairy. Nowadays it's known as one of the larger fishing towns in the Southern Ocean and quite well known for its tourism, including the Port Fairy Folk Festival, which is held in March every year and is quite a large festival in the area. For those that follow the AFL, of note, John Coleman, who the Coleman Medal for the most goal kickers is named after, also came from Port Fairy. So we're just having a look at around the course. It's a 3-looper. We'll get back to you once we've had a run. Cheers. Howdy parkrunners, it's Toc. We've just finished the sensational Port Fairy parkrun, and I'm here with 3 generations of a family, although Jenna looks like she's going to run away from me. So I've got Kate, the ED, Jenna and Hester. Kate, Port Fairy's a beautiful parkrun. You've got sea views, you've got views down through the the lake or the river down through the bottom.
Our little reserve.
Couple of laps so you get to see everyone. I love the lap courses. Yes. Tell me a little bit about the Port Fairy Parkrun.
Oh, it's fantastic. Parkrun's best kept secret, I hear. Look, really, we're a small parkrun. We had just over 30 today. In the summer we get a few more, but we absolutely love our parkrun. We've got a really core group of fanatical locals that turn up every week.
Yep. And you've got great facilities here, with the barbecue shelter and the toilets right at the start line, so you're well protected for the elements. It's lovely. I walked around with your mum today, Hester. Hester, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. We had a great chat out around the course.
We did. I enjoy parkrun. I mean, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed, and today was one of those days, but I'm glad I did. The weather's really kind today, so it's been a good walk.
Hester's one of the ones, when we started parkrun, I said to Hester, look, you're going to have to just come and volunteer for me, and it wasn't long and she was a participant and she's here every week. It's great.
And given Port Fairy's history back in the 1800s being a big whaling town, I'd imagine at this time of the year, from part of the course that we've just come up on the hill, you probably get the odd whale sighting.
Absolutely. In fact, word on the street is there has been a few whales swimming past in the last couple of weeks, but definitely we're always on the lookout because they're definitely there.
Yeah, no, well, congratulations. It's a lovely little course, and I'd encourage everyone to come down and have a run around it.
Absolutely. Port Fairy's a great place to visit. It's beautiful.
And come down in March, come for the Folk Festival.
That's one weekend of the year we don't actually have parkrun. They use our course for car parking.
That's terrible.
So if you come that weekend and you go and do Warrnambool or Portland or Hamilton...
Come for a week, do the parkrun the week before, then come to the festival the next week.
There are plenty of reasons to come to Port Fairy for the parkrun. You can also go for a ride on the rail trail after you've done parkrun.
Yes.
There's actually, it's a fairly big tourism industry around Port Fairy, so there's plenty to see and do around the place.
Yes, we are a tourist town, a destination town, they call us.
And amazing natural resources with the ocean out to the below us.
Yes, we're very lucky.
Oh, well done, great parkrun.
Thanks very much, Toc.
Morning, Lyndall and Scott. It's Gary Murphy reporting in for the Parkrun adventurers from Karkarook Parkrun in Melbourne Southeast. All right, so now we're standing here at the finish line of Karkarook Parkrun, lovingly known as Karky Parky.
Yes.
And I'm standing here with Chris, who's an RD at Karkarook, and Simon. Well done, boys. How did you go today?
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, got under 25, which I was very happy with.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, very nice this week. About 28 minutes, so quite happy with that.
Yeah. Now, there has been some discussion on some pages that I've seen about unique ways to get to a parkrun. And Chris, I believe you can tell me about a unique transportation device that's been at Karkarook Parkrun.
Yes, we have had some hot air balloons arrive at Karkarook. I don't know that anyone got out and actually did the run, but yeah, they arrived during the run and we could see them. It almost felt like you could reach up and grab them as they were coming in. And they'd come overhead on one side of the course and then come around the other side and you'd see them land. So that was great.
That's fantastic. It would have been a real unique experience to have all those people coming in.
It was amazing. And when you see the balloon coming overhead and you just hear the flames coming from the hot air balloon, it's pretty special. It really does feel like they're going to land on your head.
Did anybody yell out and cheer the parkrunners on as they were coming overhead?
Not that I heard.
I didn't hear anything like that.
No. But I think they were a bit stunned to see so many people in the park at that hour of the morning.
A welcoming committee for them when they arrived.
Yes.
And Simon, how long have you been parkrunning for, mate?
Since the start of this year, I've been going pretty serious about it. Yeah, I did a few runs before that, but had an injury, so back into it now.
Okay. And how did you find, so recently I know that Karkarook has changed direction. You used to go clockwise,
yeah,
and now you're going anti-clockwise. How have you found that?
I found it a lot better this way. The downhill is a lot slower, so instead of having like a 90% of the run going uphill, like you just got a couple of small uphills and then a long downhill, which is a lot nicer for me.
Yeah. Cool, mate. And you can probably hear in the background there's lots of cheering going on and everybody's still finishing. It's a beautiful morning here. It's the shortest day of the year, so that's good. Yes. And it's quite calm here. How would you describe the course, Chris? It's a two-lapper?
A two-lap around a lake, which I think is a man-made lake. I think it used to be a quarry here, but you wouldn't know it now. So, no, it's a lovely course. I really like it. It's very flat. I used to run at Gels, which is not flat at all. So this is a really nice change, and I keep coming here because the team's terrific. They've always been just super friendly, and it's really, it's a great place to be.
Yeah. And what about you, Simon? Have you travelled around to many different parkruns?
I've been to Gels a couple of times, and I've been to Frog Hollow, but this is the best one that I've been to.
Well, thanks, boys. That's been a great morning. Thanks for talking to me, and all the best with your parkrun adventures into the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now I've found some more parkrunners, and they've got a bit of a story to tell because they've been adventuring around different parkruns, ticking off their alphabets. So I'll get everyone to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kath.
And where are you from, Kath?
Highlanders.
Hi, I'm Kay from Highlanders. I'm Debbie and I'm from Highlanders.
And I'm Tracy, also from Highlanders.
Who knew? Highlanders! Unbelievable. Now, I was talking about an adventurer, so what have you guys been up to in the last few months, weeks?
Months, yeah. We've been travelling around Victoria trying to get our alphabet done.
Outstanding.
As best as we can, yes.
And how far in are you?
We've got 8 left.
Yes.
8 left.
Mm-hmm. Including, we've booked into Queenstown. Queenstown,
yes,
in New Zealand.
Wow, that's so good.
Cool, eh? Nothing like getting a holiday in.
And what's been a highlight of travelling around? Is it what is it? What's the best bit about
I think it's just seeing the different park runs and some of them are and some of them are just so pretty.
And the people are
yes,
really lovely.
you know, and you can do the same or do a different park run every week and run into the same people, you know, that are also doing.
And the good part about it is when you run, you don't really know how long it is because it's a new course.
But I have to say, Debbie's an expert at getting lost.
Yes, that I am. Not enough signage.
Not enough signage for Debbie anyway.
And
we're all right, but not Debbie.
I tend to run into the oncoming traffic.
Too much chit-chat.
Chit-chat's good. Chit-chat's good. So how have you been picking the park runs? Has it just been alphabetical?
We're just going through the alphabet to see where we, over coffee, we get the list up and figure out what we haven't done and what we're going to do the next week.
Yeah. So where are you off to next week?
We haven't had our coffee yet.
I've got to listen to the answer when I ask a question.
We'll know in another hour or so. When we find a nice coffee place around here.
So what's the furthest you've been?
Kay has done... Kay and I have done New Zealand.
Yeah.
We've done Lower Hutt in New Zealand. But you've
I've
done
been
a
a
couple
few
in
in
Queensland.
Kira and Main Beach.
Yeah.
Tracy's done...
Oh, I've done Mount Gambier, yes. So that was very nice. And Kay's...
I did one in South Australia.
Yeah, and you're also booked in for Bushy Park.
So Kay's off to the UK in 6 weeks, early August, and Bushy Park's on the list.
Oh, outstanding. How good is that?
How jealous
cool.
of
So we're all jealous of that
The
one.
interview's over now. I'm going. I can't talk to
I'm
anyone.
going next year and I'm going to do Berlin and Prague.
Well, that is outstanding, girls. Well done. Congratulations and all the best for your future
Thanks, Gary.
adventuring.
And it was fabulous today because I saw you run past us. Couldn't believe it.
It was such a surprise. We didn't even plan it.
I recognise the hat. It was the hat that gave you
It's the hat.
And I think that's the fun thing about parkrun as well. You don't plan these things, but there's people that you meet up every week and think, oh, they're here, you know, and it's a surprise. So
Well done, legends.
Thank you.
thank you.
Hooroo.
Thanks.
Okay, so now we're in the Karki Parky Rotunda and we're with some volunteers doing the scanning, and I am with...
Hi, I'm Tom.
Tom? Hey, Tom.
I'm Angela, Tom's mum.
And I'm Greta.
Hey, Greta. You guys are volunteering today. Thank you so much. Is scanning your favourite role?
I don't really know because this is my first volunteer.
Oh, good on you, mate. Congratulations. That's really good. How did it go?
It's going pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you're using the mobile app on your phone. How did that go?
Yeah, it's working pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And did most people have barcode scanners or tokens or...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good on you, Tom. And Greta, what were you were the official token person taking the tokens off Tom and Mum. Is that right?
No, I ran.
You ran? How'd you go?
Good.
Yeah? And how long have you been park running for?
This is my 8th.
8? Oh, so you're nearly up to the 10 club. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your favourite thing about Karki Parky?
The view.
The view. It is a very pretty park run. And have you got used to going around the other way yet?
Yeah.
Yeah? Better?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did you go today, Mum?
Yeah, good. I'm not very good with the technology. That's why I had my helper Tom with me today. But we've volunteered so Greta could catch up with us, and we're all going to do our milestone together.
Oh,
Tom and Greta
brilliant.
will be 10 and I'll be 50, so we're looking forward to that.
Fantastic. That's so good. And how long have you guys been park running for?
I started park running when Karkarook started in 2016, I think it was.
Yeah.
We'd usually take the winter off for hockey season, but we're running through hockey season this year, and now my kids have started running, and I'm lucky Tom's turned 11 because I can no longer keep up with him.
Have you volunteered much?
I'm most ashamed to say that this is my very first time volunteering, but we certainly plan to do a lot more because it's good fun. It's a great event.
No shame in that. You're looking brilliant in your orange vest.
Thank you.
I've got to
Yes,
say.
thank you.
And have you travelled around to many other park runs?
Tom and I have both done Mount Barker in the Adelaide Hills.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the only one we've done.
Well, thank you so much for volunteering today, guys. And we'll see you again somewhere else.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're just about packed up here at Karki Parky, but I've found Amanda Kwong, and Amanda was timekeeping today, so thank you, Amanda, for timekeeping. But Amanda is also what would your title be, Amanda, at Achilles?
El Presidente.
El Presidente, look out. And you brought Achilles to Melbourne, the Melbourne chapter?
That's right.
And how's it been going?
It's been amazing. It's going from strength to strength. We've got about 30 people with vision impairment involved in running and walking now, and about 10 of them at parkrun. They are absolutely obsessed and they love it.
So I should say for people that... Well, no, I can get you to say. So for people that don't know what Achilles is, what does Achilles do?
So Achilles pairs people with vision impairment with sighted guides, so that people with vision impairment can go for a run without having any hazards or tripping over or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a worldwide organisation, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So it started in New York back in the 1980s or 70s.
Yeah.
Came to Australia in Sydney first about 20 years ago, and hit Melbourne about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so where would people go online to find out about Achilles if they wanted to get involved?
If they want to find out about Achilles, it's www.achillesaustralia.org.au/Melbourne.
Awesome, well done. I'll put Amanda on the spot here, so that's extremely well done. So is this your local parkrun or?
This is my local parkrun, yes.
Yeah. Yep. And how many times have you volunteered? Was today your first time on the stopwatch?
It's a really good one. Today was the first time on the stopwatch. It was my 24th volunteer.
Oh, outstanding.
And the 25th volunteer, we've got a little something special happening with Achilles and parkrun. Hopefully we'll get a whole bunch of Achilles people volunteering at my local parkrun for my 25th volunteer.
So can you reveal anything here about what's happening? Or
that's basically it. We're just going to try and get Achilles as all of the volunteer roles at Karkarook Parkrun.
Yeah.
We're still figuring out the date and the logistics of it, but that's the sort of loose plan.
Oh, that's brilliant, Amanda. I can't wait to hear about that. That's really exciting. Good on you.
No worries.
Oh, well, thank you for today, and thank you for bringing Achilles to Melbourne.
Thanks,
and
Gary.
all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, okay. So now I'm with Annie, and Annie was the run director today. How did that go, Annie?
Yeah, always good.
Yeah, and how long you been parkrunning for?
I actually started at Karkarook, so only about 2.5 years.
Yep.
And I started as a run director.
Okay.
So I think I ran direct. Is that the past tense?
We can make it up.
To run direct before I ran.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, good on you.
Yeah.
And so how did you hear about parkrun then to get
Anita.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been friends with Anita for a while. We were trail runners together.
Yeah.
And she just dragged me along.
So Anita's the event director.
She's the event director.
And the
Mark.
co-event director, Mark, as well. So thank you guys for bringing Karki Parky to Karkarook Park.
It's awesome.
It's a ripper parkrun.
It is a ripper parkrun.
So we noticed your kilometre posts today.
Yes.
How long have they been in for?
What have they been about?
Beginning of this year?
Yeah, about the same time as we reversed the course.
Okay.
So, yeah, about maybe 6 months.
Yeah. And it's a park, it's Victoria Park?
It is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I saw the ranger was there today.
He popped by to say hi, which he does, and I think he's actually participated too.
Okay, fantastic.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, get everyone on board.
Yeah, well, thanks to the rangers for being part of that.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're very supportive.
Okay.
And if we've got any issues, we just let them know and they fix it. So we had some overgrown branches and stuff, and as soon as we let them know, they'd done it.
Ah, so good.
So they're really
that's good to have that support for
really
such a great event.
And they actually do a call out every now and then for runners to do work days.
Like working
Come
bees.
along and do a working bee.
Oh, that's great.
Which I think is awesome. It's part of it.
And you get quite a few people come.
Yeah, we get some people staying behind.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, always want more, don't you? But
now, tell me who does your run reports?
Mark.
Mark.
Yes.
And then Mark's not here today, is he?
No.
Okay.
He's at Albert.
Well, we'll give Mark a shout out because I had a look at his run report last.
They're good, aren't they?
Oh my God, so good.
Yep.
So Mark, congratulations on your run reports. They're outstanding.
He's at Albert because his son, I think, is doing his 250th.
Oh, terrific! How good is that? Yeah. I spoke to Chris about the balloons, the hot air balloons.
Oh, amazing.
Were you there when that happened?
I was.
Yeah, what was that
And I've
like?
actually hot air ballooned over the top of Karkarook.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, there's a photo on our on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
That was of the park from above that I took when we were coming over. So we landed at Moorabbin Airport.
Yeah.
And we went right over the top, and it was just the most amazing view.
Oh, so good.
Karkarook. Yeah, it was such a special part of the hot air balloon ride.
Yeah. And so you had about what this morning? About 150?
No, we had nearly. Do we have 200? How many did we have this morning? 200 and. Come on, you were tokening about 210.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And I think the average is about 150 park runners.
Yeah, we're slowly creeping higher and higher.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. No, well, you've got a great park run.
We have a great park run.
So thanks for today, Annie. Great job.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Thanks to your team of volunteers.
We've got an amazing group of volunteers. We're so lucky.
Yeah, and probably in the podcast, I haven't heard it yet, or in the interview, but in the background when I was talking to Chris, you could hear the support and everybody at the finish line.
Wasn't that amazing?
Really good.
We do have an amazing. And in fact, I think today we had almost all our run directors running.
Oh wow!
Other than
so good.
myself and the 2 event directors, I think pretty much everybody else was running today.
Yeah. Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Annie. Thanks for talking to me.
Pleasure.
And well done today.
Thank you.
Ahoy, me hearties. This is PK with a really dodgy accent. Tuning in, checking in. Gosh, it's early. From one of the seas in South Australia. Yes. PK doing a roving report from South Australia. G'day, parkrun adventurers. Hope you are all well. It's been a while, I know, but we're out on the road and I've just headed out of Adelaide, about 30 minutes out from the toll gate, up the freeway, and we are in beautiful Charleston, where it is a balmy -2 degrees. It was -1 before, so anyway, lovely morning, isn't it, Ez?
Yeah.
It sure is. I've got my daughter Ez here, and we're doing one of the seas. So there are a number of seas in South Australia. I'm going to try and reel them off. Carisbrook, Clearland. Christie's, well done, darling. Can't remember if there's another. Someone's going to kill me. Someone will know that. Clearland, did I say that? Can't remember. Anyway, we've done Ranella, the R, but of the Pirate Club. But we're doing Charleston today. So just got here, got the seat warmers on, and not getting out there until we have to. 7:47 at the moment. Beautiful drive up through the Adelaide Hills, the Onkaparinga Scenic Drive. What are some of the towns we rolled through, Ez?
We went through Onkaparinga.
The Onkaparinga Valley, you're right. So Balhanna, Oakbank, Woodside, far out Harndorf, or we turned left at Harndorf. Anyway, just some of the gorgeous towns here in the Adelaide Hills. Anyway, we're here. We're going to go and check it out. Charleston is relatively new parkrun. I know that Greta did a report from the opening of Charleston a while back, but we've just seen some of our crew turn up, so we're going to go and say g'day and get chilly with the crew. Bring it on. Alrighty, we have just done the awesome Charleston parkrun. Didn't see anyone doing the Charleston, but may come to that later. But it was fantastic. Dodgy dad joke, I know, right? What a beautiful course. Far out. We, of course, decided to come on the coldest day it has ever had. And I think the course record may even have been broken as well. But anyway, we'll find out about that. But we're now at the Woodside Providore, which is their go-to cafe for the parkrun coffee afterwards. And I happened to meet Mel Cox, who you're the EA for this area, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Well done, Melissa Cox. I'm chatting with the Melissa Cox. Mel, tell us what's your background with parkrun? When did you start and how did you get involved and all that?
Oh, thanks, Paul. So I got involved in parkrun in June of 2015. Murray Bridge is my home parkrun.
Awesome.
I was invited along one day after recently moving to the town. I've ran 129 different parkruns since June 2015.
Wow.
I am a run director at Murray Bridge Parkrun. I've been a run director since about August last year, September.
I hear Murray Bridge is beautiful. Need to go and check it out.
Yes, you do. We have pelicans. We have two bridges and
awesome.
A beautiful boat that always docks just in time for parkrun.
Nice.
That's my journey, and I've been an EA since middle of May
awesome.
this year. I've taken over a number of parkrun events around this area.
Beautiful.
And I've got some really big shoes to fill.
With Greta. Oh no,
yes.
mate. I'm sure you're doing a beautiful job already. The Charleston's a beautiful course, isn't it? Far out.
It is.
I mean, stunning. I mean, it's a bikeway. It's flat. But this morning, a bit chilly.
Oh my God, a sea of ice. It was just amazing. And that turnaround point, when you did the turnaround and then the sun just hit you in the face, it was like getting kissed by the sun. Thank God there was some warmth in there because it was chilly. I don't know about you, but my toes are still cold.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy to be here in the cafe having coffee. So parkrun, what does parkrun mean to you?
Community, and probably inclusion.
Yeah.
Inclusion. I love it. I mean, how many people get out of bed at 7:30, 7:45 in the morning to run at -2
I know,
at
right?
Charleston?
Yeah, exactly. Up in the Adelaide Hills, and then I know. But and then come and have coffee, as you can probably hear in the background, all the rowdy Mount Barker crew. But you're right. It is a massive thing to do, isn't it? And good turnout this morning for a pretty chilly morning. So, yeah.
Agreed.
I love it. Well, thank you. Let's get some breakfast and probably find Kylie and some other crew to chat with. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for everything that you do for Parkrun.
And thank you to you.
No worries. Love it.
Now you answer
Awesome.
the question.
G'day. Yes, well, now we're still at the Woodside Providore. Pretty awesome breakfast. What do you reckon, Tracy?
Yes, had a lovely eggs Benny.
Eggs Benny, and I smashed the smashed avo with the side of poached eggs. What did you have, Sereni?
Had the breakfast focaccia.
Breakfast focaccia. Beautiful. Yes, so we're still here in sunny Woodside after chilly Charleston. What did you think of Charleston, Trace? Or Trace or Tia?
Or either.
Or either.
Either or.
Either or.
I think Charleston's smashing it on every count. Every count. All the cows, the path.
Yeah, how
Beautiful
good were those
path.
cows?
Beautiful view.
Moo.
As the morning fog lifted, mist. I missed it.
missed it?
Frosty ground.
Frosty ground.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, stunning photos.
And beautiful breakfast, lovely coffee. What more can I ask for?
Well, what you could ask for is those cows to stop mooing in the background. But no, the Adrian cow.
It's inherent.
Inherent. What was going to ask? Oh, yeah. But there was no one doing the Charleston. I was just disappointed.
Yeah. No one did it along the way. We could have. We were going slowly.
Wait, do it now for the podcast.
Oh, here you go. Got all that?
Yep, thank you. That was, for those playing at home, that was the soft shoe shuffle of Tracy, Sereni and Sam singing in the background. Anyway, we're having lots of fun. More cows in the background. Yes, it is some of the Mount Barker crew are up here. We visited Charleston. I don't know what numbers. I reckon they probably got about 30-something.
40 something.
About 40,
even, maybe.
which is pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, I think Lily got a 36 or something.
Oh, there you go. And there was Reese. I reckon he may have broken the record. I'm about to go and ask Kylie. She might be able to tell me that. Actually.
Parker represent.
Well, actually, can someone go on whilst we're chatting and have a look? Sam, one of you. Anyway, we'll go and see if the course record was broken by the time I finish this chat. By the time we get over to Kylie. Anyway, yabbering away. Good times. Why do you do parkrun, Tracy?
Love it. Get to hang out with my family and friends every Saturday morning. Go for a little drive. Get me out for the day. Get me up and out for the day. Mm-hmm. And a bit of exercise.
Loving it. And breakfast.
And breakfast.
Yes, indeed.
Coffee.
Hurrah. Well, it's awesome. Beautiful up here in the Adelaide Hills. Please come and check out Charleston. We're going to have a chat to Kylie now.
And I got to add to my Pirate Club challenge
You did.
today with
You
the
did.
sea at
The
Charleston.
sea. Loving it. Arr. You sure did. Well, the sea. One of the 7 seas.
Yes, loved it.
Loved it. Thank you. All right, as hoped, I'm now with Kylie Ross. G'day, Kylie.
Hello, how are you?
Awesome. Kylie is one of the EDs. The ED. You're the ED here for Charleston. We're still at the Woodside Providore, loving it. Congratulations. What a beautiful, beautiful course or event you have.
Thank you very much, I love it.
Yeah. How long's it been going for?
So this is event number 38, started in October 6th last year.
Brilliant. I know that Greta came to the opening, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to get here, but she talked it up on the pod for everyone. How was it set? I mean, obviously Greta probably spoke to you about setting it up. How's it been since then, and the reaction to the parkrun and everything?
It's been absolutely heartwarming. It's a lovely community, and it's like a lot of local people live around the area out to Mount Torrens and Birdwood and Lobethal, but we've had a number of locals who become regular volunteers, regular runners, and a lot of them share the love of parkrun out into their communities as well.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was a really good field today. We there's a few of us who came up, but it was lovely just to meet and see some people that we'd seen at Mount Barker as well, because obviously nearby, and it's lovely that you get. I love a small parkrun. Seriously, what you had about 40 odd today.
We usually average, I think there was 37 today. We
Okay.
average about 30, sometimes
Yeah.
up to 50 on a lovely warm day.
Yeah.
And I think our most was the actual launch, which was 117. But since then, it's been about 30 each week. Yeah.
And well supported by volunteers, which is great. Which is amazing, isn't it? And the course itself, did you choose that? I mean, it's beautiful.
So the reason the course
bike
came
wave?
about is because Naomi Armstrong, who is actually my co-ED, but not in winter, due to sport, she and I ran and trained for our first half marathon on that track and spent a lot of time wondering whether we could set up a park run there. And then 2 years ago, I started the process, and with some Dipty and Amy Gillett and the Adelaide Hills Council, we had a bit of trouble connecting all those things to get permission. Otherwise, it might have started earlier, but
Well, it's beautiful, and what I love about it is that it's you basically you wouldn't know it's a parkrun course at any other time, kind of thing. Which is beautiful. I mean, it is just taking, like as we know, a lot of the parkrun courses out there. You're just basically taking over an element of nature for a period of an hour or so, and then it goes back to being normal. And it's beautiful. No, well done. We absolutely loved it up here. I believe you got a new course record today.
yes. So 17 minutes and 10 seconds. Reece survived.
He did.
There's a photo of him on the webpage if you want to have a look at it.
Collapsing afterwards. Well done, Reece. No, that's great. So, look, awesome. Loved it. I hope more people can come and check out Charleston, because it is a beautiful part of the world. Gorgeous. We're going to go and wander around some of the shops now in Woodside and, support the locals. So.
The park run with the cows.
Park run with the cows. Indeed it is. So we took some great photos this morning of the cows and of the frost and the sunrise. Yeah, look, seriously, gorgeous park run. Please come and do it and, get out there. Thank you so much, Kylie. Well done. Thank you. Cheers. Yep, I think that's enough of me, but we've certainly had a great time up here in the Adelaide Hills in Woodside for the breakfast afterwards, and a bit of shopping at a bakery, taking some excellent baked goods home. Can't wait to get back here and check out some of the op shops and salvage stores, etc. when we've got a bit more time. Charleston Parkrun was amazing. Definitely come and check it out. And yes, for those people at home who have wanting to become a pirate, I know there is a sea that I forgot. Of course, in South Australia, you can either do Carisbrook, Charleston, Clearland, Christie's Beach, or Clare Valley. Indeed, I forgot Clare Valley. So that is the fifth sea that you can do here in South Australia if you wish to become a pirate. There are 2 R's. There's Renmark and Renella East. But for those who wish to become a pirate, and probably already are, you have to have gone interstate to get your 2 other C's, or any of your C's. That's it. What a great morning, and I hope everything is good back in Parkrun HQ, Parkrun Podcast HQ, Scott and Lyndall. And I hope to check back in soon with another adventure. PK signing off. See ya.
A trifecta of roving reports from Toc at Port Fairy, and you guys all know this because you've just heard them, but let me go through the motions. Gary at Karkarook and PK at Charleston. Peel back the curtain, Lyndall. We haven't heard them. But we know they were great because they are 3 of our best.
The Channel 5 News crew are rocking it.
Yeah. But let's roll straight into the launches because we've got another new event, cool sounding name, Charlie's Creek, up in Queensland. And Lyndall, you're going to give us the history of Charlie's Creek.
The history of Charlie's Creek.
Well, just let us know where it is.
Well, there's no parkrun history at Charlie's Creek, so I'm not sure that there is a history at all, because they're just about to start writing their history, because parkrun's only just come to town, Scotty.
Yep.
But it's out at Chinchilla, which is west of Brisbane. It's probably 3.5, 4 hours drive, so our statesman will be heading out that way this week, I'm sure. Schultze will be there.
Schultze will be pumping some money into the regional economy.
You bet.
Which is great.
You bet.
Great. So good luck to Charlie's Creek crew. We have 3 anniversaries.
Logan River, Merriwa in New South Wales.
And Atherton in Queensland. So it's a very state of origin feel. I'm trying to make it relevant to our Queensland and New South Wales listeners.
Yes.
So state of origin, if I just mention that.
Everyone's happy. Everyone's happy when you mention state of origin.
Good. State of origin. Go state of origin. You know what I want to talk about? Your mate, and now my mate, Tracy, messaged me during the week, and she reminded me of a chat we had at the Palm Listener meetup that never made it to air because I cocked up the recording. But we had a chat about the other. So Tracy's one of those, or one of the very few people in Australia, maybe the only, who has done every volunteer role on the roster. The volunteering roles are ever evolving, so she's going to be ever chasing that. But we talked about the other role, which is this quite mysterious role within the Parkrun Web FMS system.
Yes.
And like what roles you have performed to achieve that other. And she had a weird one. She had hers was downloading photos for the photographer.
Right.
It's completely random, but an essential task if the photographer doesn't have access to the internet, I guess, or
to the Facebook page, or
or is really good at just pressing the button, but not so good at plugging things in.
Yeah,
so,
maybe.
Yeah.
I thought of a couple. I actually haven't done the other role, but I thought of a couple of options as to what that might be.
This is just Lyndall's made up random ideas?
Yeah. So,
yeah, okay.
like on an anniversary, if you were the cake cutter and server, would that count as an other?
It's a big job.
It is a big job.
If a lot of people are there and you're cutting up the cake, it can be a big job.
Yeah. Do you reckon that'd pass mustard?
Yes. Okay, nice idea, Lyndall. I'll pay the cake cutter and server idea. But I think we need to hear from our listeners on this one. We don't ask them much, and when we do, it usually fails miserably for a bit of, user-listener interaction. We want to hear how you've got your other volunteer credit or ideas for the other role.
Yes, because I haven't done my other. I need ideas. I need to be able to go to a run director and say, I need my other. Can you let me do X, please?
Look, I have it on my roster, but I couldn't tell you what I did for it.
Right.
I can't remember what I did for it. I might have even given it to myself one day. I was just doing something that I couldn't find a role for, so
maybe
put myself down as other.
Have you been to Nambour?
Not officially.
Because I'm thinking that if you went to Nambour, you could be the emu whisperer, and that could be your other role.
The emu tamer.
Emu tamer. Well, they don't need taming. I think they're pretty tame.
Yeah.
The emus at Nambour, they're just happy to see people.
Yeah, they made the news this week. I did see that.
I saw that.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of them.
They're trying to get rid of them. That's a very sad situation.
It is.
I wonder if there's some kind of petition we can sign, or
I'm sure. But isn't it? So you think about it. Here's a wild animal, effectively. Apparently it's been hand-fed, so hand-raised, is that what they say? So that's why it's approachable and it's good with humans. But it's now been released in the wild. It's in the bush. It's in a conservation park, and people are trying to get it removed because I'm not sure why.
Where are they going to take it?
Or something.
Exactly. To another conservation park?
Like, of all the places you want emus to be, this is where you want them to be.
You don't want them hanging out at the supermarket or,
some miserable person has said no.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. That's on my list to get back to Nambour before the emus are removed. I want to go and hang out with them again.
Yeah. Where are you going this week?
I don't know, Scotty.
Oh, another cliffhanger.
Got to keep people entertained, Scotty.
Yeah, we do. Tune in next week. Yep.
What about you, Scotty? Have you got plans?
I've got plans, but I haven't locked them down. I'm going for a run with someone, and I'll tell you all about it next week.
Alrighty. Sounds like
I'm
a plan.
100% sure, yeah. So it's been a long episode. It's been a really long episode. Great chat with Lee. Thanks for sharing his story and spending time with us and all the roving reports that we haven't listened to. But I'm going to go back now and listen to them when I put all this together. Lyndall, great chatting to you. At least one more week. One more week.
Excellent. I'll be here.
Check in with Mel, see how she's going and see if she's ready to return and if I'm ready for her to return. But until next week, happy parkrun.